All right, thank you, Vanessa. So welcome everybody. Hopefully you are having a fantastic Thursday as you are one day out from the weekend, which is always exciting. What we're going to do today is take a look at the ins and outs of Collaborate Ultra, which we are inside a room together now. I don't know what happened there, but we'll find out and take a look at that. But again, really easy to use software. I think you're going to be extremely with what you see today. A lot of capabilities for interactivity. As we get started, I always like to do a quick intro. So hi, my name is Marianne. I am one of the learning managers with Bright. I've been doing this for a little over 18 years between working with Blackboard and working for university prior to that. One of the best things about my job, I get to work with people around the globe. So luckily I get to sit from home for the most part. And I can work with someone over in the UK early in the morning and work with you guys later in the afternoon, which is really kind of cool. Picture of myself here. This is a gentleman. His name is Don Summers. He is a World War II vet. We got to meet him a couple years back in New Orleans. We went to the D-Day Museum. He's super sweet. And of course, my just turned 6-year-old fur baby. Her name is Sher. So what I'd like to do now is turn things over to you all. Let you tell me a little bit about yourselves. If you have a microphone, you're welcome to turn it on, give us your intro, turn it back off again, kind of rotate through. If you don't have a microphone or you're not comfortable using the microphone, completely okay. You also do have that chat panel. It's going to be down in the bottom portion of your screen. Looks like a little thought bubble. Give that a click. It'll pop open for you and allow you to push it in there. So I will turn things over to you all.
Hello. So my name is Julie Glavoker. I'm an adjunct with the criminal justice classes. I've been teaching criminology. I have quite a bit of experience with the interactive online from when I worked with Kaplan University. They had an in-house built voice only, so it was voice and chat based live seminars in each of their courses. And I've worked with other tools such as WebEx, but I've never used Collaborate.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Julie. So next person up, feel free to take over there.
Hi, my name is Jen Appleby, and I'm also an adjunct. I teach math, and I have, similar to Julie, I've worked with other tools similar to this, but not Blackboard Collaborate.
Perfect. And if you all are sitting together and you all have microphones open and speakers open, you might notice a little bit of echo. So again, we do recommend those if you're not using them. And also just folks who dial in on the teleconference can also mute your telephone as well. You can use that same little icon down in the interaction bar.
Marianne, you got real echoey. Actually, this whole thing got echoey. This is Gail Fraser.
Yes. So what we'll want to do is have everybody close off their mic. Just go ahead and do that, and then we'll open them up one at a time. And Vanessa, I know you've got that telephone, but if you don't care to click down there on your little, where your microphone icon would be, there is a telephone icon now. You can mute that as well. That'll prevent that speaker feedback there. All right, so I think we're better. I don't hear little muted echoes in the background. So, all right, next person to do intros, go right ahead.
Okay, Gail Fraser, a professor in management and marketing. I only have experience with web conferencing, just an attendee on a webinar type thing. So I really don't know much more about that, but certainly I would like to know how I could utilize this in an online course and maybe not an online course.
All right, perfect.
Faith Waters, and I'm an adjunct in ed leadership. And I've used Collaborate once, and I've done web conferencing, but I think there's such potential in adding this to our online classes.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Faith.
Hi, Tom Abraham, professor in management and marketing. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I've used Skype, but I've never used Collaborate before.
Well, welcome to today's session. Nice to meet you.
Rosa Lamel. I'm also in the marketing management department. I've never used this before. I'm curious, is there a button for this in Blackboard already that I never noticed?
So basically, Rosa, the way that it works, it's a building block that your system admin will install. We have done what's called the health check for you all. We worked with Vivian and Vanessa previously and got that set up. So it's a matter of when the tools are released to you, there will be a tool page for Collaborate available to you inside your course, and you'll be able to easily access it, and so will your students. Excellent question.
Wait, so we have to ask for it to be put into the Blackboard?
It depends on how Vivian and Vanessa have things set up at the moment. They may have just turned off until you all have received training. And so then it's something they can just simply flip a switch. So you'll want to definitely talk more to Vanessa and Vivian and see how things are going to be rolling out. Very, very keen.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Quick question, Tom had, are headsets necessary? They're really not. What happens is it seems like a couple folks in the same room or the same space today. And so what happens with that is that because each of you have your own microphone, you have your own speakers, because of close proximity, people are kind of getting that echo. So that's why we said leave microphones off until you're ready to use them. But traditionally, you don't have to use a headset. You can use whatever's built to your laptop. I know some people have a standalone webcam even, and they are able to use that microphone that's built in with that webcam that they get. Works extremely well. All right, next intro up, go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Qinyu Austin Huang. I'm an assistant professor in computer science. I have several, experience about WebEx and Skype, but I never use Collaborate. Thank you.
All right, thank you as well. All right, anyone else want to hop up for the introduction? More than welcome to. I know some are nervous about hopping on the mic, completely understandable, until you understand how it works. I gotcha. All right, well, we'll move right ahead. Like I said, if you want to put anything over in the chat, you are more than welcome to do that as well. Today's Ultra Essential session is going to look a little like this. We're going to kick things off with the basic kind of understanding and feel of the look and feel that we have here with Ultra. Marty and Sheree, let me double check what they've said here. Marty and Sheree still getting two audios. All right. Let's see. So you've turned off your microphone, I see. And then I don't know what else it could be. There's not two of you. So I know sometimes we've had folks where they accidentally log into the session twice using the guest link. So that's a possibility, but I only see you in here once. So what I would go ahead and recommend, Marty and Sheree, is go ahead and close out. Oh, that's a good question. Gail says, did you close out of your original session that you were in? Did you go ahead and leave that original room that you guys were in previously? One thing to check on there. All right, so we're going to take a look at understanding, access, and collaborate. We want to talk about the interface. What do you see currently? That is what the participants are going to experience. We're also going to bump you up to the moderator role or the instructor role. We want you to see that perspective as well. We're going to talk about communication methods, also content sharing, how and what can we share. We want to talk about the recording, which we are actually in process of for you today. When we finish up today, we will also be sharing that back out to Vanessa and Vivian, who can in turn share that with you so that you'll have that for review. Of course, all throughout today's session, we are going to talk best practices, and use cases throughout today's session. A couple of you mentioned teaching online. Some of you also mentioned maybe not necessarily teaching online, but what else could we use it for? Things that we think of right off the bat for Collaborate is going to be, of course, courses, right? Face-to-face, thinking about those synchronous times. Also maybe asynchronous work rooms where students can go and work together in small groups. We also think of virtual office hours, and also the ability for you as the instructor to create a little mini module for folks to go back and work or review later on. So thinking about maybe just you popping in here to a Collaborate room, recording for 5 minutes, maybe with a PowerPoint slide, or walking through the process that the students are going to have to use, doing some sort of application share so that they can see how to do that. So it can be asynchronous as well, completely up to you and what fits, of course, with your needs, your students, and your content. All right, so if these sound good to everybody, go ahead and pop open your chat panel. Remember, that's the one at the bottom of your screen. Looks like a little chat bubble. Give that a click and look inside the emoticons for me and give me a thumbs up if you are ready to start things off today. All right, perfect. Excellent job. All right. So our interaction starts. Very good. All right. So what do we need to know about this new user experience? Collaborate Ultra is our new product, obviously. It is based on a technology called WebRTC. That means real-time communication. And what the nice thing about WebRTC is, compared to our previous version called Original Collaborate, is that we were relying called Java. I'm sure all of you have had an experience or 12 with the Java product and how often and frequent Java wanted to update. And so the nice thing about that is we are no longer reliant on someone else. We're using a technology that is accessible for everybody. It is browser-based. There's nothing that you necessarily have to download to experience the Collaborate session. And you can just pop right in really easily. The other thing that it does is it recognizes your connection as you come into the room, and based on what happens with your connection, let's say that there's a hiccup in your internet connection, instead of dropping the audio like a traditional web conferencing software or putting a pause on it and then making folks sound like they talk like a squirrel, right, sound like a chipmunk, then what happens is the audio becomes primary, and so other things may be bypassed. So for example, if folks are sharing webcams and someone is on an extremely slow connection, they're not going to see the webcams. It's going to tell them that. We notice that your bandwidth has dropped, and we are continuing to information. You'll receive the rest of it when your signal improves, right? So it's a really nice way for it to dynamically adjust to each and every user. So it used to be that with our old software even, we were reliant on someone else, right? If somebody else in the session was having a bad experience, it kind of pulled everyone down, and that is no longer the case. Ways that we the Ultra experience. Just like today, we can access it by way of a link inside of a calendar invite or a link in an email, even placing the link on a web page where folks will be able to access it. You guys are probably, those of you who are faculty, are probably going to be looking toward what's called the integration. That is the building block that Vivian and Vanessa have installed. And of course, you'll be able to access the tools from right inside your course, making it super simple and easy for both you and your students. The other really nice component is that if you do have to be on-the-go learners, then they also have the ability to use the BB Student app. It is going to allow them to connect right to their Learn courses as well as to the Collaborate session so that they can do learning on the go if the need would arise. When folks come into a session, you guys were given what's called the guest link today. That is where you were prompted as to enter in the name that was going to be seen inside the participant panel, and then of course join the session. For your Learn integration, you're going to see a Join Room button on the Collaborate tool page, and you'll be able to join into the Collaborate session. What's really nice about your integration with your building block is that it's smart enough to say, all right, here is Vanessa. Vanessa is an instructor in this particular class, and Vanessa is going to be able to enter into the Collaborate session for this class as an instructor, okay, as a moderator. And her students who are enrolled as students are going to enter into the Collaborate session as a participant. So it's a really nice way for them to have a seamless transition from your Learn course into your Collaborate room. As you can see here with the automatic authentication, it does realize who you are, and it'll pop you right into the session. Now, upon the first time of folks coming into the Collaborate session, if they've never entered into an Ultra session before, and they are using a WebRTC browser, which is currently Google Chrome, or the most recent release of Firefox, which I believe is version 47, then you'll be prompted, says, hey, notice that you've probably not been here before. We want to go ahead and double check your audio and your video, right? And make sure that everything's set up properly for you. So it prompts you right there at the top, kind of catches your eye. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're not using one of the WebRTC browsers, you can't attend a Collaborate Ultra session. You actually can. You just won't be utilizing those WebRTC features. So instead, we call those Flash-based browsers. And basically, you want to make sure that the microphone and the webcam are allowed use for the Collaborate software so that folks can hear you and see you. That's always important. You'll notice that there is an allow checkbox as well as a checkbox to remember your settings so that you don't have to go through that each and every time you come into the Collaborate room. Now, the audio and video setup wizard are really nice. It, by default, is going to use the microphone that you have selected as default for your computer, same thing for your webcam, but you do have the ability to come in and select from the drop-down menus and select something else. So let's say you have a separate USB webcam that you'd like to use in place of the one that might be built into your laptop. You absolutely can come here and just simply select that. Now, in the overall look and feel of Ultra, this is what we see when we come into the session. Participants and moderators alike, it's pretty darn close. There are a couple different things that moderators do get access to that are visual that participants don't. Now, when you come into the Collaborate session, if content is not being shared, which we are doing today because we have our great PowerPoint here, but it does stay in the default, if you will, webcam or profile picture. So if you're not sharing a webcam, there is a profile picture that could play it instead. And so you'll see that until content is shared. We have a quick and easy way for you to leave the session, because if you're like me, you live in multiple tabs of a browser, so having to exit out of a browser is a little inconvenient. We do have a quick and easy way for you to completely close out your connection to Collaborate. That area is here in the center of the screen. Moderators get access to share content, participants do not. And of course, we have the interaction bar at the bottom of your screen. And again, moderators have access to more tools. Participants will have everything to the left of that, and moderators will have the extra tool, which you guys are going to be able to see here in just a little bit. Now, as we dive down into that interaction bar and take a look at that, you'll notice that there are several things down there. They are always visible to you no matter what's going on inside the session. We have the My Settings area, the audio and video, hand raise, the chat, participants panel, and of course for those moderators, the more tools. So what we want to do is start at the side, and we're just going to work our way across our interaction panel. The first thing that I'd like you to do is notice that green check mark that's down on the right-hand corner of your profile picture. Go ahead and give it a click. Notice that when you do, you get a yellow little clock there instead, and you should see a pop-up message on your screen that says you're away. Now, the other thing that you can do is open up your participants panel. That is the one that has the two little people on it, and for us, it has the number of 10. And if you take a look there, when folks mark themselves as away, you'll notice those little yellow clocks next to their name, right? So we'll see those show up there. So really nice and easy way for you as a moderator to be able to see if someone stepped away from the computer. So if you're trying to ask them a question, you'll know that really easily. Now, the other thing that you're going to have inside that area is your actual My Settings area is the profile picture. And by default for you, if you haven't already uploaded a picture, which some of you have, you're going to see this little gray head and shoulders. And when you give it a click, you're going to be taken to the My Settings area on the right side of your screen. From there, what you're going to do is click on that little gray head and shoulders profile picture, and you're going to be prompted to be able to change profile picture. Now, it's important to note that if you are on a computer that you use all the time, then that profile picture will stay persistent for you, right? Every time you log into a Collaborate session using that same browser, then the profile picture is going to be there for you every time you go back in. Now, if you're on a computer today that you don't normally use, if you come here and change your profile picture, when you do get back to your regular computer, you are going to have to update your profile picture there, and then it will always remember for you. Okay. So really simple and easy. Again, those profile pictures show up in the participants panel, and that is the little double person icon down on your interaction bar. And you'll see those profile pictures show up there. And again, also if we're not sharing content like we are currently, which we'll stop doing that here in just a little bit, you're going to see those profile pictures or the webcam point of view pop up for you and be able to see those faces as folks are talking to you. The other things that we're going to find inside the My Settings area, again, we can change the profile picture, we can set our availability, and from there, we also have the ability to double check our audio video settings. So this is where you can come to set up a microphone, or if your students are having an issue with their audio or their video, you can send them here. They also have the ability to generate a number for dial-in with the telephone, and it's going to give them a direct number that they can call with a PIN that's unique for them. And of course, this is the ability that you have to toggle on and off your speaker volume. So if things sound a little loud to you, you can personally change that, turn that up or down. And if someone says that you particularly sound loud or soft, you can come here and update your microphone volume as well. The last thing that we have in the My Settings area is going to be your personalized notifications. And these are unique for each and every person that comes into the Collaborate session. This is the basically what happens if something happens, right? So for example, the first set, if someone enters or leaves the room, do you see a visual notification? By default, you probably see those little pop-up windows. The question then becomes, do you want an audio notification to go along with that? Okay, so completely up to you. You also have the ability to see if post a chat message. If you don't have the chat panel open, you'll see the little mini pop-up. And then of course you can click over to the chat panel if you would want to do that. You also have the ability with that to be able to have an audio notification for the chat as well. Underneath that, we've closed captioning inside of the Collaborate space. So if closed captioning is initiated and you have on the visual notifications, then you will get a pop-up that says, hey, closed captionings are being made available for this session. Would you like to view them? Now, the very last one on our My Settings area, you guys don't see currently. We're about to change that. And that is the ability for you to see if someone raises their hand. So that is a moderator feature. Again, you'll notice that you get a visual notification. You also get an audio notification. And moderators are the only ones who get this particular feature so that they know when someone's raised their hand. So what I'd like to have you do is we're going to step over to our participants panel. Again, that's going to be the little two people icon down in your interaction bar there. And you're going to get the participants panel to pop up here. Now, the nice thing about the participants panel is it gives you kind of a bird's eye view of the folks inside your session, which is really helpful. Each of you have entered into the session today as a participant. And what we want to do today is take a look at how simple it is to activate someone to a different role. So as students, folks will come into the Collaborate session as a participant. As instructors, you will come in as a moderator with the ability to share content, modify the participants' privileges, control your session settings, and start and stop your recording. There is a middle of the ground. So think about those times where you have your students, they're going to be doing a group presentation or some peer teaching, and you want to allow them the ability to share content without giving them complete control of the room. So what the development team did was kind of give us a nice middle ground. So we can elevate a participant to a presenter, and then they will have the ability to share and upload content, which we'll take a little bit look at here in just a little bit. So what we're going to do is spend some time back on our participants panel, where everybody is currently listed as a participant. And what I'm going to do is we are going to take the person at the top, which happens to be Ching Yu. I am going to roll my mouse over his name, and I'm looking for this little options menu. Looks like a little ellipsis, 3 little dots. And when I give that a click as the moderator, I'm going to be able to promote him to moderator. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You'll notice that he hops right up to the top of the list, and he's now listed alphabetically first, and he's listed as a moderator. So what he's going to do is he's going to look down his participants panel and find Faith's name, who's right underneath me, roll his mouse over Faith's name, look for that options menu, give it a click, and make her moderator. We're just going to go right down the list here and give everybody moderator privileges so we can see some of those extra features for you. Excellent job. So Faith, it is your turn. If you would click on Gail's name and then make her a moderator. And Gail is going to promote Jen. And Jen is going to promote Julie. And Julie is going to promote, it says Keen Online Team, but that's Vanessa. Perfect. Vanessa is going to promote Marty and Cherie. And they are going to promote Rosa. Rosa will promote Shaquana, if I said that right, I hope. Please. Rosa will promote her, and then Shaquana will promote Tom. Now, one thing to note, it is very easy for you as moderators to promote any person in the room. Obviously, today is not a best practice day because we would never advocate for having everyone in the room be moderators, but we want you guys to have hands-on time with all these tools, right? So it's really important that you get to see that. Please note that you can click on the options menu for any other person in the room. There's a couple other options available to you. Remember that you can roll them back to being a presenter or participant, and you also have the ability to remove them from the session. I do ask that you don't do that today. And if you do roll anybody back to being a participant or a presenter, you do have the ability to push. So the big difference between the moderator and the presenter, moderator has complete control of the room. You can share content, you control your participants' permissions, you control settings that are unique to the session, and you can start and stop the recording. The difference is that a presenter basically only has the ability to change their own settings, and they can have their privileges removed, and a presenter can upload and share content. So that's the big difference. They don't have some of the room controls and the ability to control other folks. So yeah, about it in terms of maybe a guest speaker, student presentations, those kind of things. So a really nice way to kind of give you a little bit of added ability with tools without giving them the control there inside the room. So if you will, roll back over to your My Settings area. Remember, that's the area on the far left of your interaction panel. And get your notification settings open back up for me. And remember that now you should see the very last one because everybody's a moderator, right? So now you have the ability to see those notifications that come up when folks raise their hands. So go ahead and give me a click of your hand raise button. It is located right in the center of your interaction panel there. Thank you. Notice that we see those pop-ups. There's a couple options that you have available with those. You can simply close them out, meaning that you leave the hand raised, but you just get rid of the pop-up notification so you don't see it. Or you can clear a person's hand raise for them, which means you lower their hand. They also have the ability to lower their hand as well by simply hitting that hand raise button again, and that will lower their hand for them. So a couple different options when it comes to that. Again, with the notifications, completely up to you and how you would like to with that, whether or not the pop-up is acceptable, or would you prefer to have the audio notification for that as well. Each person is a little bit different, so you definitely want to take what is going to work best for you. All right. Everybody okay with the My Settings area? How about another chat thumbs up if we're okay to move on to communication tools? Perfect. And I saw a couple hand raises. If those are questions, you're more than welcome to type into the chat or the microphone. If it was a mistaken hit of the hand raise, feel free to lower your own hand. Perfect. All righty. So let's hop over into communication tools, kicking things off with audio and video. Now, by default, when you come into the Collaborate session, they are automatically disabled for you. All right, so when we give them a click, the first thing to notice is that you'll see a purple circle rotate around that microphone, telling you that it's enabling and initiating into the room. You want to see the microphone turn green, and then the center of the microphone will actually bounce up and down. It's like a audio meter for you, letting you know sound's making it into Collaborate, you should be good to go. Same thing with the webcam. By default, it's turned off. It's got the slash through it, right? And when you initiate it, you're immediately taken over to a video preview. Here you see myself and my fur baby, Ginger. And you're going to be able to say, yes, this is good. I'm okay with sharing this out, or no, I prefer not to, and you can back right out of it. It is really crystal clear about letting you know, hey, we're just in preview mode. No one else can see this yet. All right, couple other things that have been added actually just recently. Collaborate is what's called a continuous release cycle program. What that means is that once a month there are some things that are updated. Vanessa and Vivian will get updates as to what that is, so that they know what's on the horizon for you guys. And one of the things we just recently got were our microphone icons. So if you pop open your participants panel and take a look, you should see a microphone next to my name. And if a couple of you want to click those microphone buttons just really quickly, we'll see those pop up next to your names as well. And then, of course, if you don't mind, to turn them back off when you're not using them, right? So it's a really quick and easy way to see maybe where, for example, if you hear a dog barking in the background. Now, I've told you that I have Ginger, but I will tell you that she's napping somewhere because she's not anywhere to be seen. And so it's probably not her. And so then you could always look at your participants panel, see who else's microphone's on, and that would give you a good idea of where that extra sound is coming from. Now, when we're not sharing content, again, we're going to be in the profile picture or the webcam point of view. Oh, we're going to hang out on that slide for just a minute. We do share the content. And what you'll notice is that when folks do have their microphones on, not only will you see them here on the main screen, but you'll see those little microphone icons next to their name. If you are sharing your webcam, you will see yourself show up in your lower left-hand corner. If you are not sharing a webcam, there won't be anything there, right? You'll also notice that there's a little eye icon located on the upper right-hand corner of your webcam point of view. That way you do know that you are sharing that with others. Now, what we like to call backup communication is the telephony. It is built into every Collaborate room so that if something would happen to audio, maybe somebody doesn't have a microphone, whatever that might be, just like today, Vanessa said hers wasn't working initially. So what she did was she dialed in on the telephone. Worked out really well, and then that way she could still do her introductions for everyone. So what happens is you're given a phone number, and you're given a unique PIN. And when you dial in, Collaborate is smart enough to realize that, hey, I gave that to Ching Yu, and so it then swaps your audio icon over to a telephone. And what it does is it says, hey, this is muted by default, right? Just like the microphones. And when you're ready to unmute your telephone, click here, and then that will unmute the telephone, which is really nice. Another really nice thing for you to see is that as moderators, you're going to be able to see when someone dials into the telephone conference, right? You'll be able to see a little telephone icon show up next to their name. So when Vanessa earlier today said, hey, I'm going to dial in on the telephone, that was great. And so what I did was I watched my participant panel to see her telephone icon pop up. That let me know she was connected to the session. She should be me. And then, of course, she was able to talk as well. So it's great backup communication if you ever need it. A little more information about WebRTC. Again, we said that it works with what's called audio prioritization. That means that it declares audio is the key piece of information that is going to be shared. So if anything happens to someone's connection or anything like that, they're going to remain in the session and they're going to continue receiving audio. The only way that they would be dropped out is if something completely happened to their internet connection, like a complete dropout, as opposed to just a dip in bandwidth. You can have people turn on their microphones at once. This is something that will eventually grow out. As the product was initially released, they started with 5. The hope is to go up to more speakers as well as webcams in the future. Best practices for you to think about. Think about asking those open-ended questions. That gives time for folks to get their microphones on and answer something more than a yes or no, right? And then, of course, another best practice is to think about that green microphone, right? By default, it's turned off for you. You want to give it a second to click and turn on, turn green, and then be able to do your talking so that everybody can hear you. Other things to keep in mind when it comes to audio, just a little bit of troubleshooting for you. Little things just to kind of think and, keep in mind as folks are coming into the session, you hear odd things or you don't hear things. Always some good things to keep in mind. Again, with the echo, if folks are sharing a physical location, you're going to get that where someone's microphone is open, they're in the same room, there's that ability for their microphone to pick up someone else's speakers, and so you kind of get that endless loop. So we usually recommend, if folks are in close proximity to one another, headsets will work because that'll take care of the problem. Otherwise, just turning the mic off when you're not using it, that should alleviate the issue completely. You guys, of course, have local support there with Keen, and so, of course, you're more than welcome to use that, but know that you also have 24/7 Follow the Sun support with Collaborate as well. One of the nice things is that, of course, we have toll-free numbers for a variety of countries depending on where your students are, but the other option that you have is being able to go to behind, and I'm going to put this over in the chat for you if I can talk and type at the same time. we go, behindtheblackboard.com. If you give that a click, that is the support site. If you take a look at the right-hand side of the screen, there's a place for students and faculty to go to get help. You don't have to have an account. You simply click on the Collaborate link, and then you're going to be able to open up a case. There's also instant message support, so if you want to get a quick answer for something, you could actually utilize the instant message support as well. The other piece that we were talking about with the audio is the other half, video. As we mentioned, when we're sharing content, it does take the place of the webcams or the profile pictures. But if we stop sharing that content, we have the ability to look at profile pictures and webcams in two different ways. One is the follow the speaker. That's going to be the person who's doing the talking up at the top, and you can see up to, you can do, let me see how we word this. You can do up to 4 more. If you have more than 5, you're going to see a plus, right? If you just have 5 in the room, then you would be able to see all 5 people. So that's one way. That's called follow the speaker. When you get to that view, you'll be able to look in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see 9 little squares like we see here. That is considered show all. And again, that's going to show up to 5. If you have more than 5, you'll see the plus with the number. Again, another feature that Collaborate's hoping to grow out. Again, really getting the 3x3 for the video and the profile pictures. So we'll have to see where they go with that, but that is on their radar to increase. And of course, you can go back to the follow the speaker just by clicking the large rectangle with the 3 little squares underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing, take us over to the default point of view. And again, you're either going to have this, the see all, or you're going to have the follow the speaker. So if you all would like to take turns, because you are in some of the same cities, you might get a little bit of echo. So if you just want to do it semi-quickly, I'm going to turn off my microphone and let you guys rotate through telling each other hi. We'll see how folks change on the profile pictures and the web area.
Hi, this is Faith.
Hi, Faith. It's Rosa.
Hi, Faith. It's Rosa. Hi, Rosa.
Faith, it's Tom.
Hi, this is Austin.
All right, excellent. So the nice thing to remember is that if you are the person who's doing the talking, just so that you know, you will not see your up in the sets of video there, right, or the profile pictures. You will always be, if you're sharing your webcam, you'll always be in the lower left-hand corner. Otherwise, you won't see your profile picture because you're doing the talking. It leaves you room to be able to see everybody else. Any questions about audio or video? All right. We are going to move right into our last communication method, which is going to be chat. Everybody's usually pretty familiar with this. Actually, before we do that, let's do our hand raise real quick. So our hand raise is in between those sets of tools there, so we don't want to jump over it. Thank you, Julie. The hand raise, you'll notice when you raise your own hand, you do get a number associated with it, right? You'll see that number there. You can click and lower your own hand. You'll also notice that if you open the participant, you're going to see the numbered hands there as well. So you get a pop-up box with the hand raises as well. And of course, you have the ability to simply close them and leave the hand raised. Or if someone's done with the question, you could always lower their hand for them. And then, of course, if we weren't sharing content, we were doing the profile pictures or the webcams, you would see the hand raise pop up on their profile picture or their webcam there as well. All right, moving right across, we have our chat panel next. The chat panel does open up on the right-hand side of the screen as well, and works just like you would expect it to when it comes to chat communication. Now, a couple things that we do like to point out for you. Let me grab my next there. There we go. It's taken a moment. One of the things that you'll notice is now that you're moderators, at the top of your chat window, you should see a drop-down menu. By default, it says chat with everyone, but you have the ability to change that and just chat with other moderators. So let's say you were doing a training workshop for some other folks in your department, and there were 2 of you who were going to be moderating the session. The other, let's say 10 folks were going to be participants. This would give you a backstage space to kind of be able to communicate with everybody, the other moderators, and let them know what's going to be going on for the day without communicating with the entire room. Like, so typing where everybody could see or speaking out loud where others can hear you. Kind of gives you a backstage space. Chat is going to pop up just like you expect it to. The newest, of course, being at the bottom of the list, moving up as they go. And of course, there are a series of emoticons already built in for the chat. Now, the chat emoticons are based off the Twitter emoji. So there are a whole host of crazy emoticons that you are welcome to use. We have this little emoji cheat sheet that's out on the web. When you give that a click, it's going to take you to an incredibly large list of smileys and crazy little icons that you're welcome to try out today and see how that works. Now, one of the other things that we mentioned is that we also have things on the radar as, of course, Ultra grows and gets bigger and better. They are going to be adding some extra emoticons in. Right now we have the thumbs up and the thumbs down. You guys have used that so far today. Worked really well. But you also could grab the textual representation for the X from that emoji cheat sheet. It is :X:. And then we also have a white check mark. We're hoping to see both of these in our emoticon soon. It is :white_check_mark, and of course it all has to be lowercase, no spaces. And those will get those two little icons to pop up in the chat. Some people like to share that with their students and then let them put that like into a text document, and then they can use that whenever they need to give a yes or a no type of answer. Another feature that is going to be coming with Ultra, thank you, Rosa and Jen, very good, is going to be the ability that you have to have a polling tool. That is something that is going to be coming relatively soon. We actually were in a session the other day where they were showing us it and testing it. It was very exciting. So know that that feature is coming very shortly. So hopefully you won't have to worry about these emoticons. They can just be emoticons for you. And then you'll be able to use that other content as you would like. Again, chat, pretty simple. Usually most folks are pretty comfortable with that. We usually just like to remind folks, hey, it's down there. It'll pop open on the right side for you. Now, again, the participants panel is going to open up over on the right-hand side of the screen for you, just like we did earlier today. Remember, folks, that's how your students will enter. You will always come in as a moderator if you're the instructor for the course. Really simple and easy way. You've got the 3 roles, which we talked a little bit about earlier. Again, students are going to come here as the participants. You will be a moderator and you can promote to presenter if you would think that would be necessary. Other things to keep in mind, there's a lot going on in the participant panel these days. They keep increasing the possibilities and the tools that are available here. So it's really nice. Other things that we're going to notice, hand raises. We're going to see who's listed as moderator or presenter. We're going to see when folks mark themselves as away. This is our bandwidth indicator. It's a really nice way to, if someone's having a problem, you can roll your mouse over it as the moderator, and it's going to tell you what their network connection is registering as. You want to see great, good is also acceptable, and the last option is, of course, poor. So that might give some indication as to why they're having some problems with the session. Again, the telephone icon, so really nice to know when folks have actually dialed into the session. They should be able to hear you. And of course, the options menu that has the extra controls, being able to promote someone to moderator, presenter. Notice we also can promote someone to the captioneer, the ability to put the data in for the closed captioning. And you do have the ability to remove someone from a session. So Gail, you're not seeing them now because no one's a captioneer, so we're not using them. It's not an automatic process. It is something where someone does have to enter in the data. Usually classes that use closed captioning have a preset transcript that the instructor is going to use. They then designate someone to be the captioneer. And when they do that, then the captioning is pushed out to everyone. If they would like to view it, it's completely up to them. And of course, the last and most recent addition to the participants panel, which is very nice, it lets us know when someone's actually joining the session versus in the room itself, right? So they'll be spinning purple circle here, and it'll say joining until they've completely joined into the session. And then once they've done that, then we'll see them pop in just like we see here with Rachel, with a profile picture or the default profile picture and their name. So really nice way to just kind of keep an eyeball on what's going on inside your room. Again, a bird's eye kind of perspective there. And again, one of the things that we don't have here, which is a new addition, those microphone icons, right? That ability to be able to see who has their microphones turned on. So something that's new and just recently added into Ultra as well. All right. Questions about the interaction panel. The tools that we've gone over to this point are everything you as moderators will get to use, but also everything that your students get to use as well. That you have.
Yes, I have a question. So will a student have this this webinar workshop to go through all this, or how they know the student, if they are new, how do they know how to use?
Oh, sure. So part of that's probably going to come from you all locally. What is going to be, if you will, shared with your students? How are you going to prepare them? That might be something that is coming from maybe Vanessa and Vivian's team. They might be getting some resources together. There's also a free resource. It is called the help site. I'll place that over in the chat for you as well. It is help.blackboard.com, so really nice, simple, and easy. When you navigate there, it's going to ask you for your role, student, instructor, administrator. And so from there, you can then choose Collaborate Ultra, and there are several free resources that are readily available to make sure that everything's up and running, that folks are comfortable. There's little one sheets with helpful tips and just some information for making sure that everything's up and running properly. So we have some free resources, like I said, available to you, but I would definitely check with Vivian and Vanessa and their team and see what they might be getting together in the mindset of getting students prepared locally for you guys as well. Okay, Tom said, how many students can join? Tom, per Collaborate session right now, we have a limit of 100 people. So that's per example, if we had, you know, how many people we have? We have 11 today. So if we wanted to have, what is that, 89 more? I'm trying to do math on the fly. That's a bad idea, right? We could have 89 more people join us in this session today. There could be a sister session that's going on somewhere else. One of my coworkers be holding one. They could have 100 people as well. That is something that is planning to grow. But right now for Ultra, it is a limit of 100. The last I heard, they were looking to grow it this summer and push it up to 250, and then further after that as well. Excellent questions.
Another question is, a student must use Ken account to log in, or they can use, say, if they have Gmail or other account to log in?
Oh, sure. So however you tell them to access a session, they can come in however they like. So let's say you send the web link for the Collaborate session to their Gmail. They can absolutely use it that way. They just click on the link inside their email and access the session. If they're coming from your course, it's going to be really simple. They'll just click on the link inside the course. It's a tool, and then they'll be able to pop right into the session.
Yeah, because I notice some students, they don't use Ken email often. They use their own personal email. So
Sure.
sometimes we send to their personal email. I just want to make sure they are not required to log into Ken first and the Blackboard first or something.
No, you can send the web link to wherever it's best. I know sometimes students, they try to be difficult, don't they? They don't use all the tools you all give them. So yeah, you could absolutely send it to, if you had like Gmails for a certain amount of students, you could absolutely send that to them in a web link. And then they just click on it from their email and hop right in the session.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, other questions that we have? Time-wise, we are, let's see, right about the halfway mark. Content-wise, you guys are probably just past halfway, so you're doing really good today. One more thing that we do see down in that interaction bar is a tool, and it is specific for moderators, and that is going to be the More Tools area. This is going to be where moderators have the ability to control the start and stop of the recordings, as well as some of the session settings, which we're going to take a look at first. With the session settings, the moderator has the ability to take away permissions from the students, right, from your participants. So for example, let's say that you've come into Collaborate, you're going to be using it for the first time with your students, and you'd like to make things a little easier on you, which I'm all about, right? And you decide, you know, I want my students to have the ability to use their microphones, and I want them to have the ability to use their chat, but not necessarily the webcams and the whiteboard tools, which we're going to talk a little bit about here in a moment. So you can come here and you can disable for all the participants the tools that you don't want. And it's a one-click, it's a global permission. So if you don't want the students to use, let's say, their video, we just uncheck the check mark here, and then the permission is disabled for them. You as the moderator always get to keep your tools. So you're never going to have to worry about not having something. You get to keep everything. And then the students just get to have what you decide they get to have. You'll notice that when something is disabled, they're going to have a little notification. Of course, once you allow that tool to be enabled, they're going to see that as well. There are certain times where folks would prefer that only the moderator's profile picture be visible and that students not be able to do that. You can come here and turn off the profile pictures except for the moderators, if that's something that you'd like to do. I know we hear that a lot with our younger learners, especially K-12. They're not 100% sure what a younger student would pick for a profile picture, so they prefer that they not have that option. So you can come here and disable that. Now, when it comes to your session recording, that's the other thing that we're going to find under more tools. Your recordings are going to be what's called a streaming MP4. It is also going to be available from inside your course. So we mentioned that there is a join session button. Right underneath that is a easy to find recording table. So that's really nice. And it's going to contain the audio and any of the shared content and even the closed captioning. So it's really nice in that respect. You're going to go to more tools, click start. When you do that, a pop-up notification is shown. You'll also notice that even just like our room today, at the very top of the room, we see a little video camera with a red light telling us that it's recording, and of course, the name of the room. Now, when you're finished with the recording for the day, you'll go to stop recording, and you'll get a pop-up notification for that as well that says the recording has been stopped. It is an automatic finish, and what happens is the session is finalized and is made available inside your course. So today, earlier, I had mentioned that someone had stopped the recording. It's not a problem. We restarted it. So you'll actually get 2 recordings from today's session. You'll have the first part prior to when that recording was stopped, and then, of course, the part that we're in currently. So just keep that in mind when you get some links for follow-up today. You're actually going to have a 2-part recording. Again, recordings are accessed very simply. This is what the recordings table will look like for you inside your Learn course. Right above where it says recordings is the join session button. And so that's how you would get into the session. You click on the link as a student, you can play the link. Again, it's a streaming MP4. Eventually, there will be the ability to download the recording as an MP3 or an MP4, but right now it is just in format. The recordings look pretty similar to what you see here today. Content or profile pictures are shared here, and of course they can start, stop, scoot that timeline ahead, scoot it backwards, pause it, anything that might need to do with that recording. And again, as long as they're in the course, they're going to have access to the join session button and of course the recordings as well. Any questions about the more tools?
Actually, I have a question. So, is
Sure.
any way we can stop, a student from, they stopping the sharing? Say, for example, like in our case, right? Accidentally, they stop the sharing. Can we, disable only the moderator? Yes.
Yeah, so the moderator has the ability to do that, right? The participants don't get the more tools area. They will not get that little more tools menu that we saw here at the bottom of the screen. They'll only have these icons. So only moderators get to start and stop the recording. That's completely up to you.
Okay, thank you.
There was a chat question. Let me pop that open. Vanessa says, are they archived? The recordings, they are an archive. They're going to be available inside the course. And as long as the moderator, the instructor, and the students have access to the course, they'll have access to the recordings. Okay, perfect. Making sure I got that question. Can I record my own lecture? Absolutely. So Tom, let's say, that's a very good question. Let me back up a couple slides here. Let's go back. That's the one that I was looking for right there. All right, so let's say, Tom, you decide that you want to go in and you're going to have a regular session just like we are today. You're going to log into your course inside Blackboard. You're going to go to the Collaborate page, the Blackboard Collaborate tool. You're going to click Join Session. Your students are going to join in there with you. You come down, hit the More Tools, start recording. When you're done, you come back and you hit the stop recording, and then that recording will become available inside your course. Now, let's say you as a faculty member decide that you would like to record a little mini lecturette. right? Something that you wanted to review. You had the students together, they seemed a little confused on one of your concepts, and so you would like to take 5 to 10 minutes and do like a little mini lecture and just kind of go over a little more in detail for them so they can go back and view that at their convenience. So the same process goes in. You still go into your Blackboard Learn course, you go into that Blackboard Collaborate tool, join the session, you're in the room by yourself. You can start the recording, you could use PowerPoint. You're going to see me do application share here in just a little bit. When you're done, you stop the recording. You can always go back and view it just in case. And then if you're happy with it, of course, it's going to be released to the students. You always have the ability, just like any of the tools inside Learn, that you can hide a specific recording if you don't want a student to see it. Okay? Rosa says, can the recordings be shared with my other sections on Blackboard or only the course it's recorded in? Right now, Rosa, with Ultra, it is just the course that it's recorded in, but that is going to be changing. One of the things that we have, it's kind of like a workaround. Let me grab this next slide here. When the recording shows up for you, there is kind of a workaround. Initially, it's just locked right into that course, right? There is a little options menu. Everybody's used to those inside Learn. There's the little down arrow that's next to all your tools inside Learn. When you give that a click, there is the ability to get what's called the guest link for the recording. So what you could do, Rosa, is take that guest link and go into, say, Class B and add that into Class B as a URL tool. And then those students would be able to view that particular recording. The reason right now it's not shareable is just thinking about, you know, just kind of the privacy thing and keeping the students who are with each other, seeing each other, those kind of things. But yeah, there is a workaround for that right now. Eventually it will become easier. As Ultra grows, there is going to be the way to kind of merge and be able to have one room that multiple people could join together from multiple courses, as long as you're the instructor. So look for that to come as an update, but for right now, it's kind of a workaround. Excellent questions. Very good. All right, what other questions do we have before we go on to content? Yes, absolutely. So Rosa, that same guest recording link, that is one that you could absolutely email to someone. So today, I know we're not using a Collaborate session from inside of Learn, but imagine that we were. I could still get the guest link for my room and share that with a guest speaker, someone who's not part of Keen, who's not one of my students, and be able to have them come in and talk to my students. And then even afterwards, just like Rose is asking, I could get the guest link for the recording and be able to share that with them afterwards as well. Very good question.
Very good question. I just have a question for Vanessa and for you. I just had a student that was in an accident and her eyes had to be sewn shut. And I want to know if I can record things for her so that she can hear them soon, or do I have to wait until September?
So I'll leave that to me. The tool is ready for you to record things for them, but Vanessa can tell you how things can be released for you guys locally.
Okay, great. Thanks.
So it looks like Vanessa says Collaborate will not be integrated before the fall. Oh, Rosa says that you can use a private link with YouTube. That's something I'm not familiar with. Rosa, if you want to share with that.
Thanks. That's great.
All right, sounds good. Oh, okay, perfect. So she says when you go to YouTube, you upload the video like you normally would, but then share not public. You choose private instead. Excellent. Very good to know. Good to have, especially in this situation. That sounds extremely scary, actually, for your student, Faith. I'm really sorry about that. Sounds kind of scary. Hopefully she'll be able to heal up and be able to be okay.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. So this is helpful because it just happened, and so we're trying to figure out how to keep her in the course. So thanks for all the ideas.
No problem. All right. So it sounds like we're ready to move forward. Are there any other questions? I don't want to cut anybody off if there are. All right, so it sounds like we're ready to move into content. It's the last big piece for today. When it comes to content, as we mentioned, you all as moderators have that automatic ability. And remember that you can always promote a participant to presenter, and then they'll have the ability to share content as well. The content share is located in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see a little plus in a circle. That is our share content space. What I'd like to do is walk you through each one, show you how it works first. And then, of course, if somebody would like to try it out, of course, you'll be more than welcome to as well. So the first one that we're going to take a look at, let me make sure, because we just got a new slide deck. I want to make sure that no one reorganized the order that we deliver. So let me just double check here. Yeah, okay, just making sure. The first one that we're going to take a look at is going to be share application, and there's a really nice feature that is available no matter which one of these three items you're sharing. When it comes to sharing content, each person who is in the session with you has their own viewing options. And you'll find that over on the left-hand side of your screen. Remember the Leave Session button. Don't click that. Underneath that, we have our whiteboard tools, which we're going to get to play with here in just a little bit. And you have that vertical option menu, or those three dots that are standing up on top of each other. Now, when you give that a click, that gives you the ability to zoom in on content, zoom out, maximize it, or put it back to the one-to-one ratio, right? That normal view. This is really important for folks that might have a little bit of a visual situation where they can see things, but it'd be better if they could see it a little bit bigger. So this is a way for everyone to personalize their environment. With a PowerPoint slide, it's usually not too much of a problem. Things appear pretty big for everybody, but there are those circumstances where you might want to share a Word document or even a PDF. It's more of a vertical than a horizontal layout, and so font might appear a little bit smaller, so it's great to let folks know about those options that they have available to them. Now, as a moderator or presenter, when you're sharing content, it is a shared space. So just like today, we have multiple moderators. So as we are sharing, everyone who's a moderator is going to see that stop sharing button. So I do ask that you don't click it just for now so that we continue to share. And of course, when you're sharing content, the person who's doing the speaking or the most recent person who's doing the speaking, you're going to see their profile picture or their webcam down in the lower right-hand corner. You do have the ability to swap that. So let's say there's just this plain graphic here and you want to be able to see the person. Maybe they're doing a webcam instead of a profile picture. You can give that a click and the profile picture of the webcam will take full screen and the slide will go down to the lower right. So you do have the ability to kind of customize things as you're sitting participating in the session and make it work a little bit better for you. So our first type of content is going to be application share. For those of you not familiar, the ability that you have to share something that you have running on your computer. So let's say, for example, you teach accounting or math, and you have Excel open on your computer and you want to show the students how to create a formula. So you open up Excel and you have the ability to show them that and walk them through the physical steps of how that works. A little bit different than screen capture like we see here in front of us. It's the ability of them watching the steps actually take place. So it's a little different learning style. It's also something different, which is always good. You do need to be in the WebRTC supported browser in order to application share. So again, you as moderators are going to want to log in with Google Chrome or the most recent release of Firefox, which is version 47. There is what's called it's called an add-on in Chrome, and what it basically says is, hey, it's okay for you to share with the people inside Collaborate what you want to share, which is either going to be a single application or your desktop. It's great for those live walkthroughs. Somebody has a quick question, you can just show them. It's really nice and easy. So I'd like to share this with you how it works, walk you through it, and then we'll come back here, and if somebody would like to volunteer, you're more than welcome to try it out. If you don't, no pressure at all. You're going to click on the plus symbol in the upper right-hand corner and choose Share Application. When you do, you're going to be presented with several options. It is things that you have currently open. That's important to remember. You're going to be able to share your entire screen. You have dual monitors. Some people do. It will say screen 1, screen 2, so that's an option for you. And then, of course, the individual programs that you might have open. That'll just share that application. When you click share, it's going to take just a moment, and then you'll be able to see everybody. You can ask them and say, okay, let me know that you see this and make sure that everybody's on the same page, and then you can take off with your explanation or your demonstration. So we'll go ahead and start up application share here. I'm going to share my entire desktop just because I want you to see what that looks like. We are going to get a little bit of tunnel vision, and I like to open up my chat panel so I can see questions as well. So if you would give me a thumbs up when you can see my screen on your screen. Excellent. Yeah, hand raises work just fine too. Excellent. Very good. I'm just going to close those out there. Perfect. And the nice thing about doing this is it does kind of put you on kind of a flow, how quickly people are seeing what you think they're seeing. And it's always a good thing to kind of jump off on the same page when you're going through your explanation. Now, I'm just going to change over to a different tab here. I happen to have an activity open that I want to share with you. And one nice thing about this is that you can always, because we're sharing the desktop at this time, I can actually pull this tab out and put it in a separate window. There we go. And scoot it over here. And if I go back to my Collaborate window and pop that up, there we go. Then now I can still see my chat and I can see the application that I'm sharing with you. So I can keep an eye for any questions that might come up or anything like that. Now, application share is great for visual how-tos. I want to show you how something's going to work. So for example, we have the Build a Dinosaur page. It is my absolute favorite. You get to decide where the dinosaurs live. All right, so there's options down here for background. We can have them underwater or nighttime. How about daytime today? We can add some accessories because dinosaurs apparently get pretty bored if they don't have stuff to do. So we can add some things for them to play with, trees and other things. There we go. We'll put a little nest out here today. There we go. And then a dinosaur needs three things, right? They need a head, they need a body, they need a tail. So I'm just going to grab this one. I saw it move, caught my eyeball. This is my favorite body. There we go. And this tail moved, therefore catching my eye, and voila, we have a dinosaur. So I can show folks how this particular website works. I could grab the website and I could paste it into the chat for them to go off and work on their own. I also might want to show them how to take a screen capture of their dinosaur so that they can share it with the class or maybe attach it to an assignment that they're going to turn in later. So I can go simply over to my start bar here and grab my snipping tool and show them that it's going to pop open, and then I just simply click and drag to highlight what I want to take a picture of, and voila, we have a frozen image of our dinosaur, right? We can always save that out, save it to our computer, and then be able to upload it later. So application share is really beneficial in that respect. I'm just going to go ahead and share this link with you because I think you might enjoy it. There we go. And it's just a really nice way to kind of make sure that folks are really seeing what's going to happen, especially if you're taking them to a website. Maybe you need to scroll down several scrolls and show them where a particular link is. It just makes a little bit more sense actually seeing it live. Now, when you're application sharing, another best practice for you, if you have an instant message client, you might want to go ahead and exit out of that, mark yourself as busy so that pop-ups. Also with your email, you might want to close it out so that you don't have those email pop-ups if you're going to be sharing your desktop. Just little things like that. And of course, whenever you're ready to stop sharing, there is a blue button here at the bottom if you're not looking at your Collaborate window. So an easy way for you to stop. Again, it's going to pop you back over to that default point of view, which is going to be the webcams or the profile pictures. And then, of course, you can always reopen content when you are ready to do that. So really simple and easy. So anybody interested in trying out the application share? All right, Rosa says yes. So should be, let me double check, you should be a moderator, but let's just make sure. Yes, she is. So in the upper right hand corner there, you should see a plus in a circle. You're going to give that a click and you're looking for share application. If you haven't done this before, it's going to ask you to do that add-on. It's going to take about 60 minutes to do. Then it'll bring you back to the Ultra room. Once you get the add-on in, you should see the multiple screens and you can select what you want to share, highlight it, and then click the share button. All right, perfect. So Rosa is a success. You'll notice on your screen that it says Rosa is sharing an application, and she is sharing with us PowerPoint. Excellent job. And what she opened is hypothesis testing, which looks excellent. When she's finished, which she did, she over and she hit her stop sharing, and that closed out and brought us back here in Ultra to the profile picture and the webcam point of view. So excellent job to Rosa. I'm going to go over to the chat and grab the little hand applause. There's a little hand applause for a clap, and give her some virtual applause there. Excellent job, Rosa. Anybody else want to try? You are more than, oh, I like that. She go take a bow. Anybody else want to try out application share? All right, excellent. Tom hopped right up there. Excellent job. So Tom is sharing with us his desktop, and I'll tell you how I know the difference right on. With Rosa, we immediately just saw PowerPoint, didn't we? And with Tom, you got the tunnel vision, just like you got with me, where he was sharing out his browser. And then now we have a black screen, Tom, so I'm not sure what you're sharing. I don't said. Oh, he stopped sharing. Okay, perfect. It's like, I'm not sure what that's to be. Excellent job. So very simple, very easy to do. This is one of those tools that's a great alternative to just, your static screenshots. But as Rosa mentioned, very good, you do need to be careful if you are going to be sharing your desktop, what you have open, pop-ups, what's in the background, those kind of things. So you want to just kind of take a quick check, mental check of everything, and think about what is going to be available for folks to see. So very good points. Let's talk about a couple other things. We said that with application share, or excuse me, with the sharing content, there are 3 options. The next one that we want to take a look at is whiteboard tools. Again, you're going to notice that they're located in the upper left-hand corner. You have several available to you. Whenever you're sharing the whiteboard or something like we're doing now with the file, you do have the ability to use those whiteboard tools. By default, participants do get access to them. There are a couple things that I like to point out to everybody. When things are placed on the whiteboard with the pencil tool or the text tool, you do have the ability to grab a hold of it and use that select tool, the arrow on the far left, to grab a hold of it and move it somewhere else. You can even make it bigger. The last tool, which to me looks like a piece of a Hershey's chocolate bar, is your eraser tool. And that is a tool that is just for moderators. That's important to note. It used to be for both participants and moderators, but they took that away from participants for good reason. Things disappeared occasionally when you were trying to use them, so it's always good to know. Now, another important thing about either sharing a file like we are doing today, where you have the ability to annotate, right? We can annotate right here on the whiteboard, or a blank whiteboard where you can completely do some group thought and some brainstorming, is that you do have the ability to save that as an image. So whatever happens to be on the whiteboard, or in this case on our slide, if we made some annotations to it here, mind my messy mouse writing here, we could save that as an image so that we have it to go back to later. You would be able to save it to your local computer and then be able to hop right over to it. Of course, the whiteboard tools are available to you. They are simple and easy to use. Again, the select tool, the pointer, the pencil, the drawing shapes, the text, the erase, and the color palette is going to go to the text, shape, and the pencil. So what we're going to do is hop over to the whiteboard. So if someone would like to click on the plus symbol in the circle in the upper right-hand corner, and you're going to choose Share Blank Whiteboard. It's going to take us over to a blank page. Whoever would like to do it first. Perfect, thank you. And then everyone, you are turned loose with all your whiteboard tools. Feel free to try them out. Couple things to note while you're doing that. Whiteboard tools are here ready and available for you. They are going to be getting some, we've been told that they're going to make some updates to the whiteboard tools. Things like having bigger text. This is excellent text. It's very clear and easy to read, as you can see. However, it does seem a little small. So there is the ability for you to grab your select tool, grab that text, and make it bigger if you would need to. But it's a great way for you to be able to annotate or have your students annotate and then be able to have everybody share that information. Saw some chat. Let me pop over here. Just lost the sound. The sound, can everyone hear me? How about hands up if you can hear me? Hand raises, sorry, hand raises. Okay, so let me type into the chat. Seems like most people, okay. So for those of you that lost sound, I'm not sure what happened, but most people could hear. We actually did do some hand raises. So most people were able to hear, so I apologize. Rosa, at the moment, right now it is, I guess it's anonymous if you want to do it that way, if that's the way we want to call it, as we don't know who is annotating, excuse me, who is annotating what on the whiteboard. However, if you use rules of the room, so to speak, and ask folks to raise their hand and then let them participate in an order, then obviously you would know who is what. So that's one option. How do you make something bigger, or how do you move it? For example, I'll just draw a quick circle here on the board. There we go. What you would then do is grab the arrow tool, which is the one on the far left, and then click on the circle. And I should probably put a couple out there so everybody could try that out. Let's do a couple. There we go. Grab the select, click on the square that you want, and then pull and make it bigger. Yes, you can change font colors, Faith. When you select the text tool on the right side of the eraser, you should see a blue because that's the default color, but you can select a different color of ink from there, and that will affect the text tool as well. Excellent. Yes, so if blue is not your color, absolutely you can change. Like I said, they are going to be making some updates to the whiteboard tools. Again, remember the erase tool. It is just for moderators, but it does completely clear out the whiteboard. So that is an important thing to just kind of keep in mind. The whiteboard tools are going to undergo some updates. We've heard bigger text, those kind of things. What someone else typed? Yes, absolutely. So Gail, if someone else placed something on the whiteboard, you can absolutely grab a hold of it with the select tool and move it somewhere else. Yeah, so Faith, you could say, let's say you have, you know, 4 students in your class. You could say, Amy, why don't you use blue? Robert, why don't you use red? Rebecca, you're going to use green, and Jimmy, you're going to use purple, right? So you could have each one of them do that if you had enough people with colors. Absolutely. It's a good alternative to knowing who does what. Very good. I like that workaround. All right, so the whiteboard is great. What I will tell you is that's okay. I like your little person. It doesn't matter to me if it's perfect or not. The fact that you try is good enough for me. What I will say about the whiteboard is it's great for having that brainstorm space. You can absolutely hop right over here, ask folks to do things, draw things, find things, whatever you might need them to do. When it comes to interaction, the whiteboard's not your only possibility, right? So you have the ability with the files that you're going to upload, for example, your PowerPoints, right? You're going to have the ability for them to interact with that content if that's something that you would want them to do. You can, inside PowerPoint, take out key items. Okay, so think about that. Earlier today, we looked at a slide and it had all of the whiteboard tools labeled out, and this isn't the right one. Hold that thought. Wrong tool, wrong slide, I should say. Let's see what I'm looking for. This one. There we go. Loading, sorry about that, wrong slide. Picked the wrong one. Earlier we saw a slide and it had all the whiteboard tools on it for you, and they were labeled. It told you what each one did in the actual lineup there. So there we go. It had all of these labels for you. Now, what if instead I wanted to later in class, or maybe the next time we were together, check about how much you remembered, right? So I include instead a PowerPoint that has no names for your tools. And I say, hey, go ahead and grab your text tool over on your whiteboard toolbar and label the tools that you see here on the toolbar, right? So you can still have interaction. It doesn't blank whiteboard. There are things that you probably could erase out of slide content and ask your students to fill in the blank. Another example would be our parts of the cell here. We could always ask folks to grab their text tools and label the parts of the cell. It's something that you would have your students do anyway. you can have them do it right here inside Collaborate as well. All right. Any questions about the whiteboard tools, sharing application so far? Got one more component to go over here with you. All righty. The last part of share file, or excuse me, content share is share files, which is what I've been doing with you today. It is under the plus symbol in the circle, and you'll notice a couple things. You can bring in a variety of files. By default, we've got set up ready to go for you, images, PowerPoints, and PDFs. So we've been looking at a PowerPoint today. I also have some images to bring in. Here's an animated GIF of a running cheetah so that you can see the muscle and the bone structure as it moves. I just think that's really cool. We also have a prism showing how the light comes in, how the waves are changed, and it is pushed out on the other side, making things a little bit different, right? And then, of course, the last one, this is my absolute favorite. I love this. It is how air flows through the trumpet based on the buttons that are pressed or depressed with the trumpet, right? The chambers are opened and closed down at the bottom, and the air flows through. So these items that you might get with your textbook that you might have access to on the web and you can save down locally and then upload here in the class, you still can use those. The other nice thing about this is that you have the ability to still use your whiteboard tools and highlight certain areas that you want folks to pay attention to, right? So you can still do that annotation even with a file. Now, one important thing to point out is that by default, when you go to share a file, the Collaborate development team are such nice people that they thought that a lot of faculty would use images, PowerPoints, and PDFs. But what happens if maybe you have a Word document and you would like to share that instead? So I'm going to pop over into application share. I just want you to see how this process actually works. So once we get our tunnel vision going here. So again, we're going to go over to the plus symbol in the upper right-hand corner. We're going to go to share files. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look out on my computer. I'm going to go find a Word document. So let me back out here to this folder because I know there's some in here. And as I look through, oh, well, I see PDFs, I see PowerPoints, I see images. All right, I know I've got words in here. Oh, well, okay, they're not showing up. That's odd. Take a look at this box here on the bottom right. It says custom files. Custom files are what the development team thinks faculty would use most. Images, PowerPoints, PDF. So notice what happens when I change that to all files. Get a little refresh in my folder here. Now all of a sudden, I've got all kinds of stuff that pops up here for me to be able to use, right? So now I can bring in a Word document just like I could for anything else. Now notice something that's a little bit different here. The animated GIFs, there's little snapshots of them. They're ready to rock and roll. If I click, they play, so to speak. Notice the PowerPoint. There's a little stack of pages and 58. Notice the Word document. Okay, if I were to give this a click, just like the animated GIFs, it would immediately take over and show it to you on the full screen. Okay, if instead I choose the one that has multiple pages, give that a click. Notice that now I have all my thumbnails. They're called the slide sorter point of view, and that allows me to roll through what I need to get to. So that I can get all the way down almost to the end of our deck. Almost there. There we go. And I can actually select that I want. Now you still have the ability to navigate right at the top of your screen with the forth, but this is a nice to be able to jump to a particular slide just like we did instead of hitting the next button 58 times. Notice that we're on slide 50. So hitting the button 50 times to get to the slide, we just jump right to it. So it's just a little bit easier way for you to be able to navigate your content. It's also great if you have a couple slides that are very similar and you wanted to take a quick peek and make sure that you open the appropriate slide, right? Make sure you choose the right one. Again, just really simple and easy ways to be able to do that. Any questions that you have about sharing files? Anybody want to try uploading a file and sharing that with us? You're more than welcome to. Or you can even choose one of the ones that we already have. If you'd like to replay the cheetah or the prism or the trumpet, you're more than welcome to open that up and click on one of those files and then click Share Now. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Excellent choice. Excellent choice. Very good. Excellent job. Very good, you guys. So yeah, once something's uploaded into the room for today's session, for example, it's going to be there. I can revisit it. I can bring it back up whenever I'm ready. Oh yeah, sure, Tom. I'm sorry. I did not notice that you were not a moderator. Neither is Shaquana. Let me get them moderator access as well. There we go. Perfect. All right. Any other questions about sharing content? All right, we're going to move into the wrap-up portion of today's session. First thing we want to do is just kind of bring full circle some of the best practices that we've mentioned as we have gone through the session together. I'll get it out in a second. One, you guys teach every day. It's what you do, right? It's what you do well. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here today because you clearly enjoy teaching. So you already have a plan in action, right? You know how your session needs to flow. You know your content. You know your students. We don't want you to change any of that. What we want you to do is think of how things flow for you in a typical teaching environment, and then think about how the session would work if you fold Collaborate into that tool set, right? How do things change? Think about getting your participants prepared for the presentation. That question came up earlier today, right? You've got the help resources at help.blackboard.com. You're also, I'm sure, going to have some local resources between Vanessa and Vivian's team and some things that they might be getting together for you. We always are going to recommend performing an equipment check and what's called an environment check. Equipment check is everything working like I hope it? Is the webcam looking okay? Is the microphone working? Can I get my PowerPoint loaded? Can I navigate? The environment check is going to be, am I home with other people? Do I need to shut my office door? Do I need to see what's going on behind me when I use my webcam so I can make sure that, anything that I want out of sight is out of mind, right? Those little kind of things. You're also going to want to think about interaction while you're delivering your content. Are we going to have questions throughout, just like we did today, where we pause in little places, or you guys can throw questions into the chat as we go? Are we going to designate that we'd like you to raise your hand if you do have a question, and you can place it in the chat or use your microphone? There's kind of, if you will, rules of the room. And those are things that you want to think about as you think about having things in your session. I'm sorry, Ginger has just entered the room. And if you can hear that, she has a squeaky toy that she is just going to town on. So I do apologize. You also want to think about asking those in-depth questions. Those answers more than a yes or no, right? You've got a thumbs up and a thumbs down in the chat. You can get a yes and no answer from folks. But what about asking them a little bit longer questions so they can use their microphone and come on for an extended period of time? You always want to take the time to step back and see how things went. Today, you're going to get a survey link from me. It's got 6 short questions. You get to fill it out and give feedback to how you think everything went today. What can we do better? What did you like? With your students, you have that same ability, probably in a couple different ways. One, if you do a certain activity, you can say, hey, what did you guys think about that? Right? Did you like it? The other thing that you can do is take a look at your own recording or look back at what happened when you asked the students to do something. If you ask them to go to the chat and give you a thumbs up and a thumbs down, and they went to the chat and nothing happened, or they said yes or no instead, were they confused? Did they know what you were asking for? Right? So we can always step back and look at that. Of course, you're going to want to keep the support numbers handy, whether it's your local support or the 800 or reminding folks that they can go to behind.blackboard.com to get help there, just to make sure that everybody has what they need. Remember that there are tools on the horizon for Ultra, so keep an eye out for that. Again, Vivian and Vanessa are going to get email updates letting them know when new tools come in, what it's going to be. Some of the things that we already know that are coming hopefully very soon are breakout rooms, which is really exciting. We mentioned the polling tool. That's that yes-no option. Also the option for multiple choice. We just saw this in test this week. It was very exciting. Enhanced whiteboard tools, right? We talked about that, bigger text, those kind of things. And something called persistent content. And what that means is, remember those PowerPoints or those images that you load into the shared files area? The next time you use the classroom, they would still be there. You don't have to reload them. So that's something that's going to hopefully be coming this summer as well. All right. Way that we like to wrap the session up for today is to kind of give you a whiteboard activity here. If you wouldn't mind to grab your text tool, remember it's right up there in the upper left-hand corner. Pick out a number, place your name next to the number first so you can kind of stake out your line. And then over to the right of your name, write something that you found interesting or something that you might want to take away with you today and you plan to use in the near future, in the fall. Excellent job, you guys. See those names popping up there? Perfect. Oh, I like Tom's answer. Lots of stuff to try out. Very good. Very good. Ooh, excellent. So Faith wants to use this for group work. You'll be even more excited, Faith, when we get breakout rooms. You can do little mini groups. It's super exciting. Oh no, we had someone change the page. So that means we lost all our information. Poop. All right, so you can just write your ideas over here on the side if you want, or you can put your names back. Either way. Sorry about that. We just got to stay on the page for a little bit. Yeah, so breakout rooms are going to be coming. Like I said, it's going to be really cool way for you to create like multiple breakout rooms and then select students you want to go work together. Or you can do it random assignments. It'll just pick randomly and put students together. So really exciting feature to keep an eye out for. Julie says, love the feature of auto adjusting to the internet speeds. Yeah, that's huge in the world of web conferencing, right? Because it's going to make sure that everybody is getting the optimal session that they can get. So that's really important. Oh, thanks for the shout out to me. I see that on the screen. Thank you. Closed captioning is a great tool. It is. I see a lot on the horizon for that for folks that really have that need or want to make sure that students can, you know, get the most out of the lecture, and having that closed captioning is great. I envision using this to teach my students how I want Excel spreadsheets prepared. Excellent. Oh, Gail, AppShare will be your new best friend. Absolutely 100. Makes me want to use this for online lectures. Great. I like that, Marty, that you feel excited about that. Multiple people posting on the whiteboard at once. Great for brainstorming, just like what you guys are doing right now. Just remember, don't navigate away from the page and don't use the eraser. Don't do that right now. I would work great. Oh, it would work great for remediation and review. Excellent. Remember, you've got those archives. You can always go back and watch those as well. And I think that provides a lot of feedback for you personally, because you look at the way that things went and you can kind of evaluate things and kind of get a different perspective. Excellent job, you guys. I'm going to give you a big round of virtual applause over in the chat because you guys did very well today. We have come full circle for you. You all did very well with today's content. We have hit all of the items on your agenda with glowing success.